So I wanted to make a video showing how I did my roof wrap on my Hellcat, and when I was recording and playing the video back, I realized that the sound was just horrible, so we're gonna have to try and do it this way. So first thing I did was loosened up the back paper and got it stuck on one corner of the car, and then walked around to the other side, tried to position it, and then I used magnets that I got from Metro Restyling, and they don't leave any marks on the car, and you just put that on top of the vinyl, and it holds it in place. So I just kept repositioning it, and then I rolled the vinyl out over the hood. I still didn't pull the backing paper off yet, and then I used 2 more magnets to hold the back section of the vinyl wrap in place once I made sure everything was positioned correctly. So I'm still trying to reposition it in place. And it's also important to note that I had I removed the antenna, which you could see in another one of my videos. You obviously have to do that in order to wrap the hood. Now this was a standard 60-inch film that I got from Metro Restyling. It's the S12 Satin Black, so it's the same one that comes on the TA basically. And now for 2019 they're charging $4,000 to do exactly what I did for about $160. So just keep that in mind. I also removed the trim. I'm not sure what I'm saying there. The trim that's along the hood, there's like this 1-inch, it covers up the welding area. I removed those as well because those are going to be satin black as well. So here I'm pulling the back corner of the film, the backing back, and sticking the film in one place to lock it in place. And then I'm pulling the film, as flat as possible because we don't want to get any dust or debris in there. And then I'll stop at this point, go around to the other side, and start pulling that corner back just to make the section even because it was starting to get caught. So I'll pull the backing paper off, lock the film in place, and then you're able to pull the film back, in one solid piece. And you don't have to worry about wrinkles here because you'll get them out once all the backing paper is off. So you can see now it's a lot easier to just pull it all in one sheet. Again, you just have to work it from side to side. If you have another person, this is a lot easier, but I was just doing this on my own, so just had to keep walking from one side to the other. And all of the backing paper is off. So you just want to make sure you get rid of that. Don't leave it on the floor because it is very slippery. So try to fold it up and then, either put it in the garbage, put it in the corner of the room, wherever, just out of your working area. So from here you're going to pick one side, and then you're going to lift the vinyl up, and as you pull it up you're going to pull it back towards you, and then also kind of separate your arms because you want to flatten the film out. So again, don't worry about the wrinkles because you're going to get them all out eventually. So as you're pulling back towards you again, you're separating your arms as well. and it helps if you have a wider grip, so you can see I'm kind of doing it, you know, right in front of me, and that's why I keep getting those wrinkles. And as you'll see, as you go through the video, you see I separate my hands more to get it flattened out a little more. So you can see there's little wrinkles at the bottom of the film. I'm not too concerned about that because those are going to get cut off. You just want to make sure that all of the wrinkles are past the seam, the roof seam. It's just about flattened out now. And keep in mind, this is the first time I've ever done this, and it's, you know, there's people that pay $400 or $500 for this. You can buy the film for $60, and you know, it's really, really simple to do. As long as you clean the roof or clean your panel, make sure there's no dust or debris floating around in the air, do it in a controlled environment, you'll get amazing results. There's no need to pay $500 if you can spend 2 hours of your time doing this, you can get it done. Still just trying to get all those wrinkles out. Few more wrinkles in the front that were giving me a little bit of a problem. Little bubble in the panel. And those will all come out once you squeegee. And also note that no heat was used to stretch the panels out. It's still, it's called a cold stretch. So you're just conforming it to since it's a flat panel, you don't really need heat to maneuver the material. So here I'm just trying to find where the windshield is and also where the roof seam is. This way I can make sure that it's perfectly flat up to that point. Making sure I got the back window covered, back window area covered, and I have extra film past the windshield gap. So here I'm using the squeegee, and when you squeegee, you always want to pull towards you. So you start from the middle of the hood and pull towards you. Make sure that your squeegee is at a 45-degree angle. And it's also a felt squeegee if you don't have one. Again, you could get it at metrorestyling.com. So you're just going to squeegee, kind of like you're mowing the lawn. You're going to cover 50% of your last pass. And you can hold the film up if that's easier to make sure you get all the air bubbles out. Still now I'm working the back area, and there were a few spots that I had air bubbles, but the material has air release technology, so you kind of just press on it and it will release the air out of the material. Okay, so that side's all done. I'm going to finish working on the other side. Again, I'm working up into the seam, just to make sure that whole area is flat. And again, starting from the center of the hood and pulling towards you. You might notice that as you're going, you're going to find the area ahead of you might start bubbling up. So here I'm releasing the paper to get all that air out. And I'm pulling the film to stretch that area out a little bit. Now I'm going to use a little heat to release the tension and to shrink the material a little bit. And the front always gives a little bit of a problem, at least for the 2 times that I've done this, the front always gave me a problem. And still forming it to up to the windshield lip. You want to go a little further because you're going to cut that area. You just have to work your way around the car and stretch the material out or shrink it, you know, depending on what you're trying to conform it to. I'm just pulling to get those wrinkles out. Here I'm using heat and pulling at the same time to release the wrinkles, because I'm pressing up and it's creating more wrinkles. So when you use the heat, it shrinks the material back to its natural state. Then you just have this corner lip, and then you'll start the rear section. So at this point I'm taking out the heat gun and I'm post-heating the areas that I laid down. You don't want to get too close to the film because you don't want it to bubble up. You just want to apply a little bit of heat, go over the whole area. You know, feel it with your hand, make sure there's no bubbles that come up. Go along the edge, and here I'm just cutting it inside that weld channel, and I'm also going along the windshield in a second. Once I get both sides cut, I push down the film into that weld channel. This way when I use the OEM cover for that area, I'll post the part number in the description below. it'll cover up that seam. Now the trick for the front of the windshield is you want to cut the film past where it's going to be tucked in. This way you could tuck the film behind the weather stripping. If you see there, I'm using a green squeegee and I'm pushing the film behind the weather stripping, and I'm also using a credit card or like a gift card or something to pull the weather stripping back so I could push the film in. There you can see the credit card or whatever I was using at that point. I'm just going to work one side of the car and then go on to the other side and do the same exact thing again. Just push the squeegee in and push the credit card in, pull the weather stripping back, and you could push the film behind the weather stripping so it looks like a seamless fit. And when you're doing this, just take your time because you want it to look as good as possible. You know, there is no rush doing this. And then once you have it done all the way to the corners, you're going to start pulling the tape back, and then your project is complete. All you have to do after that is cut a hole for the antenna, remount the antenna, and your roof is completed. And once I pull all the tape up, I'll post a few pictures of the roof completed with the antenna mounted so you can see what it looks like.